What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? AJ Gore here, and we are live once again for another Tuesday night live with Kast King. I've got special guest Spencer Clark coming on here pretty quick. I'm going to be bringing him in. He just joined in the waiting room there, and I'll bring him in a second. But first, I want to say what up to the people who've been waiting in the background in the comment section. Of course, I got to give a shout out to the frequent violators like Gary E, Robert Green, what's going on? Crappie Kev, Tracy Hill from Tucson. It's in my neck of the woods. Ricky, what's going down? Ricky, you said that you finally won on Nikki's show. What did you win? Let me see if I can see your response. I finally won Nikki giveaway. What did you win? What did you win? Oh, got himself a Zephyr Green reel. Actually, I think you or your wife were in the hunt for that on my show. So congratulations for winning, guys. I'm telling you, if you're going to be doing giveaways, which we've got a giveaway tonight, and it's a good one. It far exceeds that Zephyr in retail value, and you guys are not going to want to miss it. Take advantage. We do real giveaways. We'll hook the people up. Tonight we're giving away one of the new Fillet knife kits, cordless Fillet knives, and I got to tell you, these Speed Demon Fillet knives are sick. You guys are definitely going to want to participate. And how you guys get entered to win these giveaways is make sure you're commenting, whether it's just with other people in the chats. Just make sure you're commenting or responding to my Q&As and things like that, and you will be entered to win in the giveaways, whether you're watching from Facebook or YouTube. But let's get rolling. Let's get going, because I know Spencer Clark is a pretty busy guy. Of course, always never fails. My wife and my son are coming home from the gym, and my dogs see him coming in the door, so I apologize. But anyhow, we'll bring Spencer on a second. I'm going to let them walk in so my dogs can bark at him for a minute. I apologize, guys. Hold on. Here they come. They're excited dogs. So, yep. Yeah, never fails. Come on in. All righty. So hopefully they won't be barking anymore, but they might. They like to bark whenever they get excited that everybody's home. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and bring Spencer in and get him rolling, because I know he just got done with a guide. Spencer, what's going on, man? You had a guide trip today, didn't you?
Oh, that's right. We just got done doing a guide trip this afternoon out on Table Rock Lake, and it was a really good trip. I mean, the fish were really biting, so my guys, they had a whole lot of fun today. So, and just want to thank you for. Oh, we were catching a lot of big spotted bass today.
Oh, cool.
So
nice.
Doing the drop shot out deep, that's kind of a staple here on Table Rock Lake. And even as we're moving in the fall here, you think a lot of those fish are going to start shallowing up, but we're catching them still really deep down here at Table Rock Lake. Fishing anywhere from 30 to 40 foot. So fish are still schooled up pretty good.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, you and I were talking last night for a minute, making sure the connectivity was good before we go live tonight. And you were talking about I use the Speed Demon Pro drop shot rod, and then of course the shaky head, and then of course you and I both have used, and I think you're currently using the walleye rods for some of your drop shot. And I said, you got to get your hands on those new Asage rods, and I couldn't remember exactly which model spinning rod I was using that it is now my all-time favorite drop shot rod I've ever used. It's the Finesse Spin. So check that one out. I wanted to get back to you on that. But anybody else watching too, if you're thinking about picking up a dope drop shot rod that won't completely break the bank, that Asage series from Kast King, it's the bee's knees, man. It really is. But anyhow, so you went out, you guys caught a bunch of fish. Well, you said you were was drop shot the key to catching fish today?
Yeah, so like one of the patterns we usually fish down here on Table Rock Lake, one of the things that works really good is just fishing a lot of standing timber. Those spotted bass, they really get in the tops of those trees, and just catching a lot of suspended fish right now just up in the water column. Fishing real deep, fishing vertical. That's a real popular technique down here at Table Rock Lake. I use that 6-pound Kast King covert fluorocarbon line.
Oh yes.
That's one little tip I can give you. If you really get in the drop shotting, if you downsize your line, it helps tremendously with fishing really deep.
Right, presenting that bait in the water column and just a different, more responsive, true activity. I agree. I use 8-pound a lot here in Arizona because we have a lot of structure on the lakes that I'm at. So I don't go over 10. And if I power shot, like if I know I'm going into trees and stuff, like no, they're not deep. They're up in the trees, but they're being finicky. I'll power shot with 12 to 15 fluorocarbon. But that's a whole different ballgame. That's not drop shot finesse. Like when I get you, yeah. So 8's my go-to. But if I was in an area with a lot less structure, probably 6, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you talk about fun. You hook up with a 17, 18-inch Kentucky bass on light tackle, and I mean, it really gets that drag singing. So I mean, it is a ball. The biggest thing too is if you can just take your time, fishing that light line. When you get one hooked up, just take your time reeling them in. You don't want to get in too big of a hurry because as long as you don't break the line, trying to power them to the boat, you're usually pretty good. And they just come right up and eventually wear themselves out and just get the net on them.
So now, before we go too much further in talking back and forth and stuff, I introduced you to Spencer Clark, but there's a lot of people who don't quite know who Spencer Clark is. So for those of you who don't know, I'll give a quick. Spencer Clark fishes professionally for us for KastKing. He's also fishing in MLF circuits, as well as he has a Spencer Clark guide fishing service. But Spencer, who else better to describe who and what you do than you? Let the world know who Spencer Clark is, and maybe they want to book a trip with you.
Yeah, so I'm a professional fishing guide down here at Table Rock Lake. We do a lot of bass fishing. We also do walleye trips. Catch a whole lot of walleye down here at Table Rock. That's become really popular the last couple of years. In addition to guiding for bass and walleye, do a lot of trout fishing too. So right here in my backyard, I actually live on Lake Taneycomo, which is one of the best trout fisheries in the country, bar none. I mean, you can walk right out here, right out my front door, and have the chance of catching a trout of a lifetime.
Really?
We're talking, 30, to 35-inch trout swimming out here in Taneycomo. And this year alone, just on my guide trips, we've had, several rainbow trout, over 25 inches long, which, in the state of Missouri, if you catch a trout that's over 3 pounds, that's considered a trophy. And, every day you got a shot at maybe catching a 20-plus-inch rainbow trout or a brown trout down here. So some of the best trout fishing is right here in my backyard. And I probably do 60 to 70% of the guide trips I do for bass and walleye, with, the rest of it being trout trips. So I spend a lot of time, catching trout too with people. But yeah, some of the best fishing is definitely here in Branson, Missouri. Branson, it's a big tourist town. They got a whole lot of different stuff you can do if you come here to Branson. Just the fishing alone is great. They have a whole lot of shows. It's kind of like a mini Las Vegas of the Midwest.
Yep.
And yeah, and so it's a great family place for people to bring their families on vacation, and just kick back, enjoy the beautiful scenery that the area has to offer. And being in Branson, we're also not too far away from Arkansas. We're right here on the Missouri-Arkansas border. An hour's worth away, you've got some of the best hiking trails. If you like to hike, that's another option you can do down here. You can go hiking. There's a ton of hiking opportunities if you're the type of person that likes to get out and experience nature. So just a real cool, fun place to bring your family.
And it sounds like you should also be like a tour guide or a real estate agent. You know what I mean? Like selling trips to your area. Not only will I take you out guiding, but I'll take you hiking. I'll take you to Branson. We'll go down there and we'll get liquored up and have a good time on the strip. Like, no, I'm sorry.
Well, that's one of the things that's cool about being a fishing guide is, I get to take, tons of families fishing, over 100 families fishing every year. And, you get asked questions about the area, like, where should I go to eat for lunch after we get done fishing here? What's the place, what other things are to do? So it kind of helps to, know your surroundings a little bit and, try to steer people in the right direction. So
it sounds like you've got people coming in when they book a guide trip with Spencer Clark Fishing. Sounds like they're not just coming in from the state that you live in, but they're coming in from all over the Southeast, maybe just the East Coast, or are they coming in nationwide? You've got a pretty good portfolio of people coming in.
Oh, it's completely a wide range of people, all different ages, all different demographics. I get a lot of people from Texas, Louisiana. They come up here, kind of escape the heat, because even even while it's really hot here in the summertime, get a lot of people coming up from there. I've had people as far as New York that I've guided before. Had some people from Massachusetts, New Jersey. Had some guys out a couple weeks ago from California. Get people coming from all over the world. It's a blast. Get to meet a ton of cool people. All different things. I mean, it's a lot of fun too.
Nice. Now, we just had a question come up that I thought would be fun for you, since we were talking about drop shot was your key today on a lot. What is your go-to? For me in Arizona, if I know there's 2 drop shot lures or baits that I'm going to put on soft plastics, it's going to be a robo worm, a margarita mutilator here in Roosevelt, like that I fish the most, or another robo worm, which is going to be like the silver shad or sexy shad. And then 5150 makes a really good plum crazy purple, I think. And for some reason on that lake, those 2, I will always catch fish on those 2. Every now and then I go rogue and put some different ones on there. But what is your go-to brand, length, whatever drop shot bait Sean wants to know?
So a max scent flatworm is really hard to beat if you want to get down to it. That works really good. Something about that scent when it comes to drop shot, and it's hard to beat. Another good one is if you throw like Aaron's Magic and a robo worm. Really like the 6-inch size. That works really good here. You can another bait that works really good is like a tiny fluke. Putting a tiny fluke on there, and that's kind of an overlooked one.
I agree.
So
I overlook it, and I always think about it, and I'm like, I need to tie on like little flukes. I mean, that flatworm kind of makes you think about it. You're talking like the Berkeley flatworm, or is Max Scent? It's Berkeley Max Scent flatworm, right?
Right.
Okay.
The Berkeley Max Scent flatworm.
Yeah, and it's similar to like a fluke, but it's shaped different, but the size is similar. But it makes you think I should tie on a fluke, and I never do.
Right. One kind of tip I could give you, as far as drop shotting goes, whether not so much if you're in a tournament setting, but if you're just going out, trying to bust up a whole bunch of, spotted bass or something, because that's predominantly what, we're catching here, is do a double rig. Put 2 hooks on a drop shot and throw it down there. You would be surprised how many doubles you can catch, because, we get these schools of fish coming and you drop 2 down on them. And,
now, when you do that, are you throwing that still on 6-pound line, or are you throwing that on do you up like, hey, I'm going to double it today, I'm going big, bro? Or are you going to be like, are you going to up your line to 8 to 10 pound? Or are you going to still just like, you know what, I'm going to let that drag do all the work and we're gambling? Because, it's what we do. What are you doing when you do that?
Well, we got really clear water here, and it's amazing like how many bites you'll get if you go from 6, even from 8 to 10 pound test down to 6. So I just stay with 6. And, like surprisingly, my clients, they've caught, monster walleye, 29, 30-inch walleye on 6-pound tests. And, they've got the teeth. And as long as you play that drag right, you shouldn't have any problems. I try to keep my line real fresh on my reels for my clients. That way, we don't have to worry about too many problems with the line. But those, our KastKing reels, they have a real good drag. I've been using that Mega Jaws reel a lot. The one that's black and purple that came out last year.
That thing's money.
That thing is slick when it comes to drop shotting. And another reel that been working really good for me is just the little Zephyr reels, like the 2000 series. Like if somebody's looking for a real inexpensive reel that's just bulletproof, those things are rock solid too. In like the 2000 size. It's hard to beat them for just reel that you can go out there and just really abuse day to day. So
yeah, the silver with some kind of reddish purple highlights in the Spartacus too. It's got a sealed drag, so I use that, and it's like a $40 reel, $45. Like I used that for drop shot for quite a long time, just because it worked, and it was dirt cheap and just super affordable, but flat worked well especially because of that sealed drag. But of course, then we had quite a few other higher end reels that I fell in love with, like the gold Zephyr was fantastic. But then when that Mega Jaws Elite black and purple came, that's it. I've got like 5 of those on deck, all set up for drop shot in the 3000 series and 2500. And I just don't want to replace them with anything. It's going to be hard for me to take those off if and when we ever come out with a better, like the Skeet Reese reel. spinning reel. It is phenomenal. And I'm like, I can't take my Mega Jaws off. I just love it. But that reel's still good, and I use it for other purposes. It's awesome. But man, it's just killer. Like that Mega Jaws black and purple on that Asage finesse spin. That's my money. That's my money right there. So now, you not just guide. We've been talking a lot about guiding and things like that. And we'll get into some more of the comments in the comment section. But you also are a tournament angler, more so than before you were guiding, correct? Or were you guiding first?
So, prior to getting into guiding, I was doing a whole bunch of tournament fishing. I used to fish probably, anywhere from like 20 to 30 tournaments a year. From 2017 to, I don't know, I'd say like 2020, I'd probably fish, anywhere from 25 to 30 tournaments a year. Had some pretty good success. Just in, BFL competition alone, had over 20 top 10s, won the BFL regional as a co-angler on Grand Lake in 2019. That was a New Ranger bass boat. And that was probably like one of my highlights, I had a real good college fishing career. We got second in the regional championship. That was on Lake Monroe in Indiana. And I really used to just kind of go around the Midwest here and fish a whole bunch of different lakes. And have, had good tournament success on a wide range of lakes, just kind of all around the Midwest here. 2020 got to fish the All-American. That was on Lake Hamilton.
Okay.
Qualified, for fishing that as a co-angler. That's one of the best, biggest tournaments I've ever fished. The last 2 years, though, just been really focused on getting my guide service up and going and really making sure everything's going smooth with that. Like I said, we've been doing, over 100 guide trips a year the last 2 years. So it's been really good.
That's busy.
Next year, looking to fish the Toyota Series. I'm going to be trying to qualify, for the invitationals. So we're going to be going to Kentucky Lake, Lake of the Ozarks, and Grand Lake, which is where I won that championship. So very familiar with all those lakes. Grew up fishing Kentucky Lake quite a bit. So going to be taking a shot at that this year, along with fishing the Ozark Division BFLs, which they're on Table Rock Lake, Truman Lake, and Lake of the Ozarks, which I would say out of all the lakes here in the Midwest, I know Lake of the Ozarks and Table Rock Lake probably the best. Actually spent a couple years living on Lake of the Ozarks. Got to fish it 4 or 5 times a week for a couple years. Lived up there when I was in my early 20s. So, but yeah, looking to get back more into tournament fishing next year. Just got a new boat. Got a new nitro bass boat with a new motor on it. So that's going to help a lot. I mean, so
yeah, I've got it up on screen. You got a new truck and a new boat, right? With the brand new. Right. That's that new outfitted Merc right there. So you got the total package happening right now for your guide service and in your tournament trail.
Oh yeah. And I mean, that's something I've been working on the last 2 years, just, getting the tools I need in order to get back out there and, hit the tournament scene hard, as well as, just be able to better take care of my clients, when they come to visit me down here in Branson and make sure they got a real nice boat to fish out of.
It makes a difference. It does.
So we're doing well. Really looking forward to 2024. Getting back to doing a lot of the tournaments that I kind of miss. It's been good taking a little step back from the tournament thing the last 2 years, but I'll tell you what, it's been a really good experience getting to take families fishing, because you'd be surprised at just how much you can learn about fishing through guiding. Yeah, I mean, because a lot of times, like when we're guiding, we got to figure out how to catch the easy fish. And sometimes with tournament fishing and, guiding has really helped me just kind of take a step back and figure out some new tricks for catching fish, when the fishing's tough, and just go about things a little bit differently. I'd say, prior to guiding, I used to be like a real shallow power fisherman, get up there and, slug it out on the bank.
Fences, yep.
Whereas with guiding, I've had to really learn how to go deep and fish offshore. And, we try to get on a lot of schools of fish. So it's really helped me. I mean, that was one of the things too, with like moving to Table Rock Lake. I just wanted to get better at it. I wanted to get better with my electronics, fishing off the bank, catching suspended fish. And, Table Rock Lake is really good if you want to get your electronics dialed in. That's another thing that I offer too. In addition to my guide trips, I also do electronics training down here on Table Rock Lake. So
forward-facing sonar and things like that. I know that you're
right
pretty up there with that. Pretty
versed. Yeah, and
it's
and having that knowledge of electronics and just utilizing them to find fish, it really can speed up the process a lot. When you go to these new lakes, anymore, I spent a lot of time on my graphs, looking at my graphs. I just got back from the Lake of the Ozarks. We had a tournament up there, and I had 1 day to practice. That's all I had. And I only maybe fished 2 hours that day, but I spent pretty much the whole day just driving around, looking at my electronics, finding a lot of brush piles and just isolated targets that I could throw at. And it worked out for me. I ended up making the day two cut. Had one that was almost 6 pounds the first day and a 4-pounder. And they just came off of, a brush pile that's about as big as your arm out in the middle of the lake. So, if you can use your electronics, it pays off big time in a lot of ways. But yeah, that's kind of a background. I know I can go on for a while, but
can't we all?
Yeah, so just a lot of different things going on. So
yeah, I mean, now you're so right too. Like when you're talking about, everybody looks at like tournament fishing. Oh, those guys, they know everything. This and that. Now, there's a whole lot of guys in the MLF, and we're talking Bass Pro Tour level, that just really don't have good days sometimes. You know what I mean? They go out there and they'll practice, they'll put in the work, like you said, pre-fish, everything else, and then come tournament time, they flat fall on their face. But the next tournament, they'll be at the top of the score tracker. But the thing is, you have good days and you have bad days. That's in tournaments, and you win some, you lose some. But in guide fishing,
right,
that client doesn't care.
Yeah, right.
Paying you to have a good day. Find me a good day. You're a professional fisherman. So in my opinion, you could just catch fish all day, every day, no matter what. Like that's literally the concept
right.
I have. And you gotta come through. Like, have you ever had a guide day where you've taken, and of course, nobody wants to promote their guide service this way. So be understanding. Fishing sucks for everybody at times, and it happens. Right. Have you ever had a guide day where you got out there and you just didn't catch them the way you wanted to, and the client didn't quite understand, or were they pretty cool? Have you ever been down those roads? Because it happens, people. It does.
Right. So I can say this: over the last 2 years of guiding, I've maybe had only like 2 days where we didn't catch them, as good as I, thought. As far as we caught them good enough to where it's like, maybe it wasn't like the most like explosive day of fishing, where you caught like 50 to 60 bass, but it was good enough to say, hey, it was worth the trip for them, and they had a good time. Right. But I've had 2 days like that, and when that's happened, usually what I tell them is just come back and see me again. We'll take another crack at it.
We'll take care of you.
Because that's one thing that I do with my guide service. I really want people to have a good time, because I understand that they're down here, on vacation a lot of times. These people, it might be their only weekend that they get to go fishing the whole year. Yes. I mean, you just don't know. But like you said, what you're talking about as far as, tournament fishing, you have your ups and your downs. I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of times with, like my guiding, I really look for schools of fish offshore. Because one thing I can tell you about fishing with electronics is if you can see them, at least you're throwing at fish.
Right.
And so
if you go out there and you're like, I just ain't finding nothing, and you're just throwing and you're just trying to locate, that's what we've done for the last couple of years with these new sonars, that new technology. At least you can go, look, they're here, so I'll throw this at them, then I'll throw this at them, and then I'll throw this at them. Like eventually you're going to get the kitchen sink in front of them and then go, okay, I'm starting to figure something out. We've got a couple, but yeah, I mean that's it. It's finding them. Find the bait, find the fish was the old school thing. Now with forward-facing sonars, Panoptics, and things like that, live scope, we're able to get out there and find them and go, okay, I don't have to just search for the bait. Like they're here and they're on that one stick in the middle of the lake. So
that is the one cool thing about, the forward-facing sonar technology. If you take the time to understand it, it's a very powerful tool. It will really help you understand, fish behavior in general. I will say this though, it is not the be all end all, the cure all. Because
Doesn't
right
make
here,
a bite.
right? Because you got to make them bite. Right now, on Tail Rock Lake, I've probably got 12 different places that have these schools of bass that are probably 20 to 30 fish in each location. And that's one of the things that just amazes me when with guiding is you get to go to these groups of fish on a daily basis, and it's amazing how one day you'll go to this one spot and it will just be on fire, and you could go to that spot and they're there the next couple days, but then this other spot where they're there, you pull in there, and I mean it is just crazy. I mean 20 to 30 fish in an hour. I mean it's unbelievable how much they change.
And it can boil down to just as simple as color. You were throwing the right technique,
right.
the right bait, but your color was wrong.
Exactly.
Have somebody else pull up next to you doing the exact same thing with that plum crazy purple or sexy shad or Aaron's magic or whatever else, and they're nailing the snot out of them. You're like, dude, I've been here an hour. I've caught one.
And then the other thing too, AJ, is like sometimes you might have a school of like 20 fish down there, and you might work like crazy to get them to bite. And if you get one of them to bite, then they all start biting. It just like gets them all fired up. And so sometimes that's the hard part, just getting just one fish inside. It's time to come in the boat. So
and then when you get them fired up, then you tie on that double shot drop shot, and I'm gonna be double shotting. That's what I'm gonna try that. So I've had this question up there on the screen for a while. Matthew Dillon wants to know, what's your go-to glide bait on Table Rock?
Okay, so there's a number of glide baits that people use. I myself haven't really got into it as much as a lot of people, so I'm gonna be honest with you. There's a tackle shop here in town. They sell a bunch of glide baits called Extreme Outdoors, and they have some real good looking glide baits over there. I've caught some good fish on the glide baits they got. You might want to check them out. Just look up Extreme Outdoors. They got like a shad pattern one that works really good. Looks like a big gizzard shad. I've caught some fish throwing that on a lot of the bluff walls and around some of the docks. I myself am not much of a glide bait fisher, and that is one technique that I really need to start picking up and doing, because I know it catches big ones. I just haven't really developed it.
Am I just going to make that investment to just not only spend the money on all these big glide baits, but then spend like a day or a week and just throw in this beast, like all day long. So
yeah, no, if if a guy wants to ask a question, about throwing a crankbait or something like that, that's kind of more my wheelhouse.
All right.
I'm a crankbait fiend. Everybody, fishes tournaments with me knows that I really like doing that. It doesn't always work, but I've caught some real good fish and done well in a lot of tournaments throwing a crankbait. So
this should be an easier combo for you. With that said, or combo question, Rashawn Hunt wants to know, what is your favorite combo, just in general?
Right now, one of the rods that I really like to use is the Speed Demon Pro chatterbait rod with the MG12 bait cast reel. And that is one of my favorite rods. I'll throw a rock crawler crankbait, a wiggle wart on that. The Speed Demon Pro chatterbait rod, that one there works really good with like a wiggle wart or a rock crawler crankbait, which is a real big technique here in the Ozarks. All these highland reservoirs, wherever you go, that rock crawler or like a wiggle wart always is going to be in play. And the MG12, that thing is so smooth. I mean, when I got my hands on that reel, I could not believe, just how that thing casts.
It's amazing.
And, for spooling up, for my cranking, I'll use like 10 or 12 pound covert fluorocarbon almost all the time on that. Sometimes I'll use a monofilament, but that reel, being a smaller reel, it's super light. I think it's like 4.5 ounces or something.
4.6. Yeah.
Like when I'm going crankbait fishing, I've got the trolling motor on high and I'm going down that bank and I'm making like 4,000 casts a day. And when you got a reel that's real light like that,
yep,
at the end of the day, it makes a difference.
Because
people think they know how to fish a crankbait and cover some water with it until they've been in a boat with me. And it's like, you've never seen anything like it. I mean, I really move with that thing. And that's my favorite way to fish. I don't always get a chance to do it, but there's a lot of days where that technique will pay off big time.
Heck yeah. Well, something that pays off is, like we said, electronics and things like that. So Richard Delazier, I'm not sure I'm butchering that last name. I guarantee I am. Says, are your electronic lessons priced on your website, or where can they find information for pricing? Is it better to just contact you directly, or do you have that listed somewhere?
Depending on like how many hours you want to, get out there and play with electronics. Usually what I do is if you've got your own boat and you're bringing it down, say Table Rock Lake or, a lake around here, usually I charge $250 for a 4-hour lesson if you're bringing your own boat, and we'll catch some fish along the way. We cover 2D, side scan, forward-facing sonar, mapping, how to do your waypoints, how to manage your waypoints. Really what I like to do is just get people out there and kind of give them that rundown on how, when I go to a new lake too, what's the first thing I'm going to look for? Like when I go to a new lake and I'm going to be using my electronics, there's a lot of things that will help you. Thermocline, that's a huge thing when it comes to, fishing offshore, using your electronics. If I could give you a tip with using your electronics on any lake, it would be studying that thermocline if you've got one, seeing where those fish are setting up, what depth that they're liking, because that will lead you to the cover that you need to be fishing. Because a lot of times, bass, they'll try to go as deep as they can go as long as there's oxygen. And, and that's a real big tip for you. Because when you figure that out, you can eliminate, most of the water in the lake. And,
Nice.
A lot of people don't do that. And then, a lot of times too, if you go into a new lake, bass always relate to channels. So if you pay attention to your channels, the fish, they really use those to migrate. They really use those to travel. Whether, you're fishing a point or you're fishing a flat, some of those areas is where you're going to want to spend most of your time. So, you come down here, do an electronics training tip with me, kind of give you, the background, some seasonal patterns. And then we get into, using your electronics and getting real comfortable at recognizing, what it is that you're seeing on those fish finders on your graph, because really the best way to get good at it is just practice. But there's a lot of little tricks and settings you can do on your graph too that make it a lot easier. So.
Nice. Okay. Now, last question, and I'm going to pretty much let you go for the evening so you can get to spending some time with your family. You've been gone all day, guiding, things like that. I'm sure you probably got to be getting hungry and ready for dinner. But Matthew Dillon wants to know, do you offer discounts for veterans?
Yes, sir. So I do a 25% discount for all veterans. So if you're a veteran and you're wanting to get out and fish, just give me a holler and we'll get out there and do it.
Perfect. Well, awesome. Spencer, before I let you go, thank you so much for coming on. Guys, Spencer Clark Fishing fishes professionally as well. He is definitely on the Cast King staff, but he's also a guide service professional. So if you guys are wanting to get out from anywhere across the nation, get in his area and get out there and catch some fish, learn how to catch fish, how to use your graphs, things like that. Spencer, tell them how they can get a hold of you, how they can contact you, find you, or how they can follow you on your social media channels and get out there and have some good times with you.
Okay, so like one of the best ways that you can kind of, stay up to date on, some of my fishing, my guide trips, how everything's going, check out my Facebook page. It's just Spencer Clark Fishing. So you can find me on Facebook. Check that out. And then just shoot me a text or give me a call. My phone number is 314-562-3332. That's my cell phone number. Best way to get a hold of me. And just give me a shout and, we'll see if I got any availability and we'll just go from there. Book a trip.
Perfect.
So,
now, can they contact you on, like, say, Facebook Messenger or Instagram and possibly communicate with you there?
Yep. You can find me on Facebook Messenger. I've got an Instagram page. It's called Breaking Bass Guide Service. So that's the name of my guide service. You can find me on Instagram. I've got a TikTok page. Don't really do as much with TikTok, but you can also hit me up on there. Feel free, though, if you've got questions about fishing, electronics, drop shotting, anything we do down here at Table Rock Lake, or you want to book a trip, just reach out and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So
excellent. Yes, got a lot of people in here really appreciating you for coming on. That's awesome. We definitely do thank you for your time. I mean, everybody's jumping in here and definitely appreciating the fact that that you've been spending some time with us and giving us a little hint of some of the things that you can provide for us. So thank you very much. Matthew Dillon says he's going to be booking a trip with you in the near future. So be looking for that. So
Well,
Definitely.
that sounds
It
great.
sounds like you might be a veteran too by asking that question. So
Just want to say thanks, AJ, for having me on the show as well.
absolutely.
It's always a privilege if I get to come on here and be your guest. And thanks for having me on the show, and hope we can do it again sometime. So
Absolutely. And maybe one of these days I'll book a trip with you and you can show me how to catch a fish or two. So.
Sounds great. We'd love to have you. Love to have you out here. So just give me a holler.
Not a problem, man. Thank you very much. Have a great night, man.
You too. We'll see you.
Spencer Clark, guys, man, that guy's a cool cat. I tell you what, definitely a class act out there. So if you guys are looking to go do any kind of fishing and want to learn a little bit, and you're in his area, definitely look him up under Spencer Clark guide fishing and things like that. Like I said, you can always go back to the show if you miss how to contact him. He gave you the list right there and get it dialed in. But speaking of getting dialed in, ladies and gentlemen, I want to dial you in with your very own KastKing Speed Demon electric fillet knife. So I'm going to go ahead and take a minute and pull this thing up on screen so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And then we're going to crack it open. So let's go here. Boom, bam, biggity, bam, right here. All right, guys, who wants to win one of these fillet knives? Okay, so we have two different series. This one right here that I've got on screen, this is it's kind of like the perfect, so somebody like Spencer, or somebody who's big into the outdoors, does a lot of things like guide services, or catches a lot of fish and processes a lot of meat. Or if you're looking to like carve turkey for Thanksgiving, butchering, things like that, this is definitely your bigger kit at $149. Now they do have a smaller kit right here, and I'll show you. That's this one here coming in at $98 plus a 20% off coupon. Okay. So make sure you guys are applying that coupon, click that first, then add it to your cart before you move forward. So you can get it. And I'll show you the two differences between the $98 version and the $150 version right now in the Speed Demon Pro fillet knives. We're going to give one away, guys. We're going to give one away. So definitely make sure you guys are commenting and things like that. So this is the one that we're going to give away right here. This is like the one that's on screen for $98. What you're going to get is let's go ahead and pull it out. This is your actual fillet knife body, okay? This is where all the good stuff happens. Now, we're going to go ahead and take a lithium-ion battery, which, by the way, has a meter that will tell you how charged it is. You know, whether it's 100%, 75%, 50%, 25%, you'll be able to see those on that little graph that is displayed here. But let's go ahead and chuck this thing in, pop it in. Now we've got some power. Okay, so now, anytime you guys are going to be putting in your fillet knife blades, it is always smart to not do it while this thing has juice. So you can pull the battery off and you have no juice. That is the safest way. But let's just say for whatever reason you don't take the battery out, which I do not recommend in any way to change the blades, you got juice, you have a button right here. You can see it right on the side. You click it over. It's a safety. It is a trigger guard. It's a safety. So you can't engage that trigger while you're possibly messing with the blades. You set it down. Maybe there's a child running around. You're not looking. You want to make sure you put the safety on. So think of this thing like a gun. Put that safety on that trigger, guys. So we're going to go ahead and remove the battery, which, by the way, does come with a very nice battery that's going to give you a lot of battery life. It's like crazy amount of time. We'll get into that in a minute. You've got your simple charger. You've got your simple battery. And this guy right here is going to plug in right on this side, the flat side. So we're going to hook that up. That's it. Just plugs in right there. Plugs into the standard wall, 110. You're good to go. So let's go ahead before we do that and put in. You get two different sets of blades with this setup. Of course, you've got the shorter and the longer. Now, the Pro Series kit, or like the Guide Series kit, comes with more blades, more batteries, and it's good to go. But we're going to go ahead and chuck this guy in. Let's go ahead and pull it out of the protective sheath. We are going to pop this guy in. Make sure I've got them lined up right here. Whoop. There we go. Line them up. Put this on. And we are locking in here. Nope. Try not to cut myself and pay attention while hosting the show here. So we've got them locked in. Let me lock these guys in here. Oh, my trigger guard's in the way. That's what it is. and that safety on. And release that, lock the blades in, and we are now good to go. Okay, so now we got our blades in. Put your battery in there, and there you go. You guys are ready to start cutting on this thing. These guys are super sharp, super awful. I mean, they will flat tear some flesh up. I mean, as you can see, if you're going to go in there and you're going to go ahead and do some filleting, cut the turkey, things of that nature, you've got a really small system here, very thin blade, or you have your more robust standard blade of fillets. Now, that is the standard kit. Okay? Let me show you guys the Big Mamba Jamba kit, and I'll go ahead and put that one on screen. That is going to be this cat here. That is everything you just saw and more. Both come in a beautiful, hard, kind of, it's still somewhat soft, but it's a harder case here that houses them. Can you zoom in, big brother? Okay, here, let me get it off screen. Yes, let me go ahead and I'll stop sharing. We're having people ask, can we go ahead and go full screen? So let me stop sharing. Coming back on. All right, so here is the case. As you guys can see, this is the bigger system. As you guys can see. As you see, you have 3 sets of blades where the only one had 2 sets of blades. Same body as far as the actual knife goes. You get 2 lithium-ion batteries and a charger in this case. But guys, this is the kicker for the big set. I mean, look at this thing. It's like a sword. This is a heck of a setup here, guys. So I've got my trigger guard on. Let me turn that off. Let me pop these blades in. Okay, so we got them in. Look at this thing. I mean, you saw how fast I put those blades on once I realized I had the trigger guard on the other one. But this thing is beefy. Pull this off. Put in our battery, which they charge pretty quick too, guys. Look at that. You talk about, I don't know if you guys are going to be cutting up a cow, an elk, a bear, pig, the biggest turkey of your life. I mean, look at this thing. I'm a pretty good sized guy, and this thing is longer than my forearm and arm. I mean, you can definitely, you got a sword, you got a machete right here of fillet knives. And then of course you have 2 other shorter blades, but this is the big kit right here, guys. This is the one that's coming in at $149. This is going to be a perfect, great idea for things like catfish. I can see, yes, salmon, very large species of fish. It's going to work very well for you. You can scale your blades down, and this is a great idea. I mean, we're just into the first week of October, but you know what happens when we start getting into Halloween? Some of these other stores start putting up Christmas idea stuff. Also, Thanksgiving's around the corner, and this is going to be a great option. Maybe not the sword setup of this version, but the smaller blades. Perfect for carving a turkey, carving that ham, that spiral cut ham, however you want to do it, things of that nature. This is going to be a great setup for you if you guys are breaking down meat quite often and you're looking for a cordless electric knife. Dude, you guys got to check out the new Speed Demon Pro Knife. It's awesome. You're going to love it. Yeah, this right here, you guys are going to have to go out and catch a tuna for this thing. I mean, it's enormous. It's huge, guys. You need this. Yes. Let me see here. We've got people in the comment section. Adam Robinson's over here saying, geez, that is a big blade for all the monster slabs I'm catching. It absolutely is. It's giant. It's giant. I mean, it's how long does the battery last? Well, let's jump in there and take a look. So you're looking at a battery lifespan. At 100%, you're coming into about 100 minutes, okay? So 100 minutes is going to be basically an hour and 40 minutes, right? So then you get into like 75% battery life is going to put you right out at about an hour. Okay. So you have an hour of just straight cutting time, just running that trigger like crazy, and then so on and so forth. So it starts to decrease down. So it's awesome. So with a full battery life, you've got 100 minutes of cut time on this thing. You guys will absolutely adore this. And like I said, once you guys jump on those links, let me put it back up on the screen for you. Oh, I lost my mouse cursor. There it is. So we're going to go ahead and share this screen again. Boom and biggity boom right here. So this is the Big Mamba Jamba for like all those serious people that want the big long sword blade and things like that. This is the guy right here. $149 is your seller for the 2 batteries, and you get all 3 sets of the blades, including the sword for swordfish. But then you also have, if you're looking for, you're like, well, maybe I don't want to, let's see, jump over here. Maybe I don't want the very large one, I want to go with the smaller setup, the smaller blades. I don't need to go crazy with the sword blade. You can grab this one right here, same battery, same handle, the two smaller blades, which that standard blade fillet knife is what you're after. $98 with a 10% off happening right now. But then again, like I said, make sure you click that 20% off coupon, guys. You'll thank me later and save some money. Now, this is the one that we're going to give away. So if you guys are watching this live and you're already commenting, you are already entered to win. If you guys are watching this later in the week, and if I catch any fish in that, then I'm throwing it back. All right. Well, don't throw them back. Maybe just get them and use them for bait with this fillet knife. But guys, if you guys are watching this later in the week in the rebroadcast, definitely make sure you're commenting and liking on this so that way you can be entered. And next week, I'm going to pick a couple names at random. I'm going to pick someone from Facebook, and I'm going to pick someone from YouTube, and you guys are going to go head to head, and one of you guys is going to win that fillet knife valued over $100 normal retail price. So guys, that's going to do it for me. Make sure you guys jump in there. Yeah, exactly. Right here. Let me find it. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? I just saw it right here. Boom. It's that easy, guys. The Real Life writes, sweet, I'm in the draw. Just from commenting something like that, you're in it to win it, ladies and gentlemen. But that's going to do it for me. Guys, my name is AJ Gore. Make sure you're following us on TikTok at KastKingUSA, as well as following us on Instagram, KastKingUSA, with our second page, KastKing Community. And then if you're watching right here on Facebook or YouTube, you guys already know how to follow us and how to like this page, and make sure you're commenting so you get entered to win that fillet knife or any other time that I'm doing a giveaway. Guys, thank you very much and have a great night. We'll see you next Tuesday, and hopefully I'm calling out your name. Deuces, later.